Years ago, I spent a few months in a little remote Chinese city called Heihe. It's one of China's northernmost cities, and it sits literally right across a river from Russia. And boy, was it cold up there in the winter. By around 3 p.m. in the winter months, it was already almost dark. The Russians call the river that separates China and Russia the Amur River, and the Chinese refer to it as Heilongjiang or the Black Dragon River. I would often go to the Riverside Park there in Heihe and just look across the river. Though I had never been to Russia, and I still haven't, I could catch a glimpse of it from right there. It was kind of interesting, to be honest. I've always loved border towns. The Russian city that I was seeing from standing there in China was a city called Blagoveshchensk City. Sometimes in town, I'd bump into a Russian person while I was out on the street. I'll never forget the image of a middle-aged Russian woman walking down the pedestrian street there in Heihe in the morning with a bottle of beer in her hand, drinking as she strolled down the street. She looked pretty happy and relaxed, not a care in the world, and I gave her a little smile, and she smiled back at me, revealing a garish-looking gold tooth in the front. I had never seen anything quite like that. But I'm guessing she must have been a Blagoveshchensk local, considering it was just a short ferry ride across the river. My favorite place to hang out in Heihe City was definitely the Riverside area. It was just a good, relaxing environment, and I loved the view of Russia there, sitting just across the Amur River. Nowadays, as I spend more time in China and I spend more time reading about the history and studying the language, I keep learning things that shock me. Recently, I came across something that took place right there in that very river that I was just telling you all about, probably not far at all from where I was viewing. Something shocking, something terrifying, and unfortunately, something very heartbreaking. I want to share with you all a little bit about the Blagoveshchensk Massacre. Hey guys, quick interruption. If you are here watching my video, there's a high likelihood that you have an interest in China. Well, personally, I think it's important that we all learn a foreign language, and I want to suggest choosing Chinese as your foreign language. First of all, by studying the Chinese language, you will really start to understand China on a much deeper level. Also, Chinese is the second most widely spoken language in the world, with over 1 billion Chinese speakers worldwide. People say that learning Chinese is so difficult, and let's be frank, in some ways it is, but it's not nearly as tough as you think, and the grammar is super easy. I want to encourage you to check out my channel sponsor, Excel Mandarin, and take advantage of their free trial lesson offer. You have nothing to lose and potentially a lot to gain. Excel Mandarin has bilingual native Chinese speakers based in the US who can teach you real Chinese, and they have the ability to take you from beginner all the way up to fluency. They offer 24/7 support, and they have all of the resources available that you could ever want. I learned Chinese by fumbling my way around on the streets of China. It was a really fun and interesting way to learn, but it wasn't very efficient. If I'd had a native speaker guiding me and helping me along the way, I would have learned a lot more, a lot faster. So check them out today, sign up for a free trial lesson, and make sure not to forget the most important part. Be sure to tell them that Mr. Chopsticks sent you. Okay, now back to the video. This massacre took place in the year 1900 and resulted in the inhumane deaths of up to 5,000 Chinese. Let's journey back 125 years to the year 1900. The setting is that Russian town, Blagoveshchensk, that I so often saw from a distance. Back in those days, the town was somewhat of a melting pot where Russian settlers and Chinese traders lived side by side. The Chinese were there primarily doing what they do best, running markets where you can get all the foods and daily necessities that you need. Even today, Chinese maintain this trademark characteristic. Walk through any Chinatown, or heck, come to China. Wherever the Chinese are, there will always be little market areas and street vendors selling all types of things, especially foods. It's a great thing. I love that aspect of China, and I think we all do. Besides that, the Chinese were doing some farming and even panning for gold there in Blagoveshchensk. They had been doing that there on the banks of the Amur River for a long time. Hustle and bustle, markets, street sellers. Russian and Chinese folks buying things fresh daily. It would have been an interesting scene indeed. Probably a lot of laughs and friendly interactions between many people there, as many of them would have been regulars. Now let's go back a little further. You see, up until the year 1858, the city of Blagoveshchensk was not a Russian city. It had previously been a Chinese settlement called Hailan Pao. Things just got a whole lot more complicated, didn't they? In 1858, Russia made a move to try to take advantage of China's weakened state during the Second Opium War and the Taiping Rebellion. They drafted and had China sign the Treaty of Aigun, which ceded about 600,000 square kilometers of territory in that area to Russia, amongst other things as well. This is one of the lesser-known chapters and contributions to China's century of humiliation that I'm pretty sure you all have heard about. So by 1900, there were around probably 5,000 Chinese living there in Blagoveshchensk, but only 42 years earlier, they would have been standing on Chinese land. That certainly would have created a slightly awkward and unusual dynamic for the folks living there. They surely must have felt like foreigners in what they viewed as their own land. Here's where things got really bad really quick for the Chinese living and working in Blagoveshchensk. In 1899, the Boxer Rebellion in China started. In short, it was a movement, a peasant uprising in China that aimed to wipe out foreign influence in China. It was briefly supported by the Qing dynasty as well. On July 2nd, Qing forces and Boxer Rebellion militias shelled Blagoveshchensk from across the river. Who knows, probably not too far from where I was standing. Russian officials panicked. After that, they were suspicious of all Chinese and viewed them as likely traitors. The city's military governor ordered a purge on all Chinese in the area. Starting July 4th, Russian police swept through the streets, dragging families from homes, men, women, and children. They were herded to the riverbanks. Most were robbed, and then they were forced into the river. Those who resisted or tried to swim away were shot. This nightmarish scene took place right in the river that I often stood there and looked at, enjoying its serene beauty, watching it as it flowed toward the Pacific. Had I known about the Blagoveshchensk Massacre while I was there, I surely would have felt very different emotions about the river while I stood there gazing at it. 3,000 to 5,000 Chinese died there. They died such a scary, cruel death, filled with fear and suffering before they took their final breaths. The aftermath of this crime against humanity? Well, no Russians were punished as it was labeled and viewed as a wartime necessity. Nowadays in Russia, it's hardly even a footnote of history. A park in Blagoveshchensk now covers the killing grounds, and there's no plaque or memorial of any kind. In China, it's slightly better known, but it's generally kept quiet, and no one wants to raise a stink about it due to China's current no-limits partnership that they have going on with Russia. Beyond that, China has other fish to fry in terms of their short to mid-term goals, so they want to keep things good for the most part diplomatically with Russia. But when the dust settles, make no mistake about it, there is still unfinished business between Russia and China, and sooner or later, it will come back into the spotlight. The world and the pages of history are filled with countless instances of human cruelty and victims of wrongdoing at the highest levels. Most of them are forgotten and end up only as footnotes written in a very small font and hardly ever read. So, in my own little way, here in this video, I want to remember those whose lives were cut short in the Black Dragon River, Heilongjiang, 125 years ago. It wasn't right, it wasn't fair, and it won't be forgotten. I want to give an extra special thanks to all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for their help in keeping this channel financially sustainable. A huge thank you to all supporters from the $1 tier on up through the higher tiers. I want to give an extra special acknowledgement to my PCO tier members. And lastly, a huge shout out to my top tier supporters. Lee, Martin S., David is Dawei. Oh, and just so you know, you guys rock.
What do you look for beyond the sea, grasshopper?